Hello, can you hear me now?
Hello?
Hello?
Can you hear us now? Thank you.
Right.
Apologies, everybody, for the issues with the sound. We're just going to hand over to Dr. Benwell now, and we'll get the webinar moving. Again, apologies for the sound issues we've been having.
Yeah, so sorry about the delays there. We just had a few problems with the microphone. So thank you very much for your patience. I'd just like to welcome you very warmly to the webinar for the MLitt in English Language and Linguistics. My name is Dr. Bethan Benwell. I'm one of the programme directors and tutors on the programme. I'm just going to start off with a couple of slides about Stirling more generally, because I gather you've expressed an interest in this programme and in coming to Stirling. So, okay, so Stirling, if you don't know it, is quite a small historic city. It's in the heart of Scotland, and it's positioned more or less sort of equidistant between Edinburgh and Glasgow. So it's about 50 minutes on the train to either Edinburgh or Glasgow. So if you do like the big city, it's very easy to get there. These are slides of our beautiful campus. So this is the campus is located for about 10 minutes by bus from the centre of Stirling. The campus is often thought to be one of the most beautiful in the whole of the UK. It's a former estate, the Airtree estate, so it's got a historic castle and a loch, and it's got a sort of mountain backdrop. It's a very green campus. I've worked here for a long time, so sometimes I take it for granted, but if we ever have visitors, they remark on how beautiful it is, and then I see it anew as well. There's postgraduate accommodation available on site, and all the student facilities are also on campus, including sports facilities, banking, doctor's surgery, and shops. We've been voted best campus in Europe on a number of occasions. The city of Stirling itself, many students actually live in the city, sort of 10 minutes bus ride away from the campus. It's a smallish city. It's often felt to be safe. It's an affordable place to live. And as I mentioned before, it's got excellent transport connections to the two biggest cities of Glasgow and Edinburgh. There are lots of bars, cafes, restaurants, so it's quite a vibrant city. There's a theatre and lots of sort of cultural events going on. There's also a theatre and a performing arts centre on campus called the McRoberts Centre. There's quite a large student community in Stirling because it's quite small, so it feels quite sort of student-centred, and it's a warm and friendly place to live and easy to get around because of its size. Sorry, I'm just negotiating two lots of slides here. Okay, so this is just a spreadsheet of the living costs. So just to give you an opportunity to cast your eye over that, accommodation is approximately £86 to £131 a week, 4,300 to 6,550 per academic year. And then there's also information here about local bus travel, food, clothes, books and stationery, entertainment, and other expenses. So this is, I think, relatively affordable. Its accommodation is cheaper in Stirling than it would be in Glasgow and Edinburgh, and transport is relatively cheap. You get discounts for being a student. Okay, I'm moving on now to talk about the programme, which is the thing that I know the most about. So the image you've got here on the slide is an image of the Tower of Babel. So some of you may know the story in the Bible about the Tower of Babel. It's from Genesis, which was meant to explain why the world's people speak lots of different languages. So according to the story, united humanity in the generations following the Great Flood, speaking a single language and migrating eastward, comes to the land of Shinar, and there they agree to build a city and a tower tall enough to reach heaven. God, observing their city and tower, confounds their speech so that they can no longer understand each other and scatters them around the world. So this is a kind of origin myth about the existence of different languages. And obviously the structures of different languages is one of the key themes that we're interested in on our programme. Quick introduction to members of staff on the programme. So that's me down in the left-hand corner, Bethan. The co-director is Andrew Smith at the top and Stephen Penn on the right-hand side. And we represent different areas of interest in the field of linguistics, pretty much the broad coverage of most areas of linguistics between us. So Andrew is interested in the evolution of language, linguistic complexity, cross-situational language learning, grammaticalization, language systematicity and regularization and cognitive linguistics. So Andrew is really responsible for the kind of cognitive side of linguistics and also the structural aspects, the basic structures and systems of the language, including syntax, semantics and phonetics and phonology. I'm at the sort of softer, more applied end of linguistics. My interests are in spoken, written, discourse and conversation analysis, language and gender, sociolinguistics, and my research field at the moment is healthcare communication. Stephen Penn's interests are in history of the language, so particularly late classical and medieval Europe, Old and Middle English language and literature, and historical linguistics. So just a quick overview of the programme. The MLitt offers you the opportunity to study the intricate workings of language and to explore its central role in human society. So we give we think quite an equal balance to both the forms of language and also their applications. How do they actually function in society? So the programme as a whole is centred on the study of language, investigating both theoretical approaches to linguistics and also their application in a broader cultural context. The first part of the course is a foundational course in the structures of language. So that's really what we call the core modules. And then these are complemented later by advanced specialist courses or options, which allow you to explore a wide range of different kinds of topics according to the interests of the staff that teach on the programme. So who is this programme aimed at? Well, one of the unique sort of selling points of the programme really is that it can either be aimed at those who have no prior academic experience of linguistics, but also those who have done linguistics before. So it makes no assumptions about what topics you may have covered previously, but for those who have had an engagement with linguistics in the past, it offers a high-level engagement with topics, quite an intensive reading programme and challenging assignments, which means that it's suitable for those who have studied linguistics, but also suitable for those who haven't. So there are a variety of reasons why people want to come and do the MLitt. One of the sort of predominant motivations is really a passion for the subject. We get a lot of students who just say that they just are fascinated by the topic of language and linguistics and they want to learn more about it. And then some often see it as a kind of foundation for other more vocational degrees, such as TESOL, speech therapy, or the foundation for a pursuit of a PhD, so carrying on after the masters. We also enjoy cross-teaching initiatives with other faculties. So we have a collaboration that's just started with psychology. We share a bilingualism module with them, TESOL as well, and translation studies. And this has meant we've been able to introduce more sort of vocational industry-facing modules on our programme. So the bilingualism module, which is coming really from a kind of language acquisition point of view about how bilingualism is acquired by children. We also offer grammar for TESOL, and we offer corpus linguistics from the TESOL programme as well. We have quite an international profile. We get a diverse range of different nationalities studying China, Saudi Arabia, Thailand, Mongolia, Germany, France, USA, Nigeria, Scotland, England, Northern Ireland and Poland. So those are the nationalities that have been represented on the programme. And we usually get about an equal number of international and home or EU students. And we often address cross-linguistic and cross-cultural comparisons in our programmes. We look at case studies which reflect a range of different national contexts and languages. And in that sense, our curriculum is quite international in orientation. Oops, I've gone through too many slides. We have relatively small numbers on our course, but this creates what we see as a very tight-knit and supportive learning community for our students. We often find that our students actually develop their own sort of private sort of study groups amongst themselves because they tend to bond quite well as a community. And international students for whom English is not their first language also get a lot of support in terms of dissertation supervision, and also from our Royal Literary Fund Fellows who give one-to-one guidance on writing. Oops. This is what we have on the slide in front of you now is the actual programme of study. The first table is for full-time students, and you can see that in the autumn you would study 2 core modules, linguistic structures and linguistic contexts, and then you would choose an option, and there's a range of different options. I'll go through those shortly. In the spring you do 2 options and the research training course. Again, I'll explain what that is. And then in the summer you do your dissertation. Occasionally we get part-time students, so the programme is set up for students who want to study part-time. If you studied part-time in the first autumn, you'd do the 2 core modules. In the spring, 2 options. In the second autumn, you do an option and the research methods module. And in the spring and summer, you work on your dissertation. Oops, I keep going too fast. Okay, so the core modules in a little bit more detail. Linguistic structures focuses primarily on investigations into the structures of language across the fundamental dimensions of linguistic analysis. So phonetics, phonology, morphology, and syntax. Linguistic context, the other core module, is how meaning is constructed and interpreted, so that's semantics and pragmatics, and also on different contexts, social and historical, in which language is used. These are the range of option modules offered on the programme. So in the autumn you can study historical linguistics and the history of English, language and cognition, grammar for TESOL, bilingualism, and then in the spring you can study sociolinguistics and varieties of English, evolutionary linguistics, corpus linguistics, and Old and Middle English. So these are a range of options that you have to choose from, and usually we will run an option as long as there's 2 or 3 students who want to study on it. The kind of culmination of all your study, the crowning glory, if you like, of the programme is the dissertation. So the dissertation is obviously your big independent research project, and this is a linguistic subject of your own choosing in consultation with a member of staff. It's 15,000 words, so it's a substantial piece of work, and it's obviously weighted more significantly, so it's worth 60 credits rather than 20. The dissertation is heavily supported by supervision sessions, so you'll be assigned a supervisor once you've chosen your topic, and you'll have regular meetings over the summer period. The research methods training module, which I mentioned earlier, this is a module that aims to encourage you to develop your research skills in preparation for a research-based career or advanced research at PhD level. But it's obviously also very useful for some of the modules. It's useful particularly for the dissertation. The research methods module encourages reflective engagement in 4 domains: generic research skills, employability skills, breadth of knowledge, and subject-specific skills. And basically students design their own kind of portfolio of activities, and it can include things like you know, a range of different things. Sometimes students will do a dissertation proposal and reflect on that. Sometimes students do an additional online course. As in the past, students have attended academic conferences and then written a reflective journal piece on their experience. Oops. Okay. We also hold a regular reading group within the programme. So about every 3 weeks we have a reading session where we discuss recent and not so recent papers in English language and linguistics. And we encourage students to take it in turns to actually choose a paper themselves and present it. And then quite often, if that happens, they'll end up writing that up as a reflective journal piece as part of the research methods. The form of teaching and assessment. Teaching takes place in the form of regular lectures and small group tutorials. We have a range of different forms of assessment. So assessment is primarily through module coursework. We don't have any exams, but we have regular essays, independent projects, technical language analysis exercises, critical reviews, reflective journal entries, and of course the dissertation. And then obviously the dissertation is the most significant piece of writing written over the summer. These are a few of the graduate attributes that we believe the programme offers. Critical thinking, intellectual honesty and rigour, the research skills to demonstrate your independent research potential, leadership, responsibility and teamwork, the ability to reflect explicitly on tasks, learning and activities, presentation skills, both formal and informal. So for instance, for the dissertation, we actually have a little, students do a short presentation on their dissertation proposal. Self-motivation and initiative, and time management and working to deadlines. There are a range of graduate destinations. These are some of the ones that I've actually taken from former graduates, what they've gone on to do. So sometimes graduates go on to teaching, including second language teaching. We've had a couple of students going into speech therapy, sort of doing an additional master's after this master's. Arts administration, a number of students go on to do PhDs and then eventually go on into academia. Sometimes students actually have already been academics in their home universities and taken a sabbatical to do the masters and then gone back to their universities, perhaps in promoted posts. Marketing and advertising and translation services, and that's just a little picture there of me with a couple of our former graduates from a couple of years ago. This is a student testimonial from one of our former students. I'm not going to read the whole thing now, but she's a UK linguistic consultant for an American healthcare research company, and she does some very interesting work analysing transcribed conversations of patient-doctor interactions. And she talks in this testimonial about how the specific skills that she learnt and specific knowledge that she gained on the masters actually helped her in that particular career. And then the second testimonial is from a student who's now working in translation services, very local. It's actually based on the campus called Global Voices. And she's actually an account manager for this language solutions company. But she talks again about how the different modules gave her the skills and the knowledge to help her develop her potential in that particular career. Okay, so why might you want to come to do English language and linguistics at Stirling? Obviously, we hope you do. So just to summarise some of the key, what we might call unique selling points of the programme, it's designed to be suitable for both beginners and advanced students of linguistics. The breadth of linguistics provision means the choice and the range offered to students for option modules is very attractive, and the programme coverage is actually quite comprehensive, given that it is a relatively small programme. The size and scale of the programme allows a valuable personal touch. So we all know all our students very well. We all come into contact with all of our students. And I think this creates an ideal kind of student and academic community. Students benefit from the small group teaching. They value the time and the attention that's given by staff and the enhanced supervision of dissertations. And this is my final slide, which is over to you. If you have any questions now, I think there is an opportunity to write them into the forum, and then I will attempt to answer. Oh, she's just turned